Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. Not just a YouTube channel, your main source for bull breed entertainment. I offer video services such as stud features, kennel features, and full event coverage. I also offer photography services such as puppy shoots, individual dog shoots, and full kennel shoots. You can see examples of each on any and all Bull-NA-ChinaShop social media pages. You can also see an in-depth look into my life and the American Bully lifestyle with my vlog found on the YouTube channel as well. Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV is also the home of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, a real, raw, uncut podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American Bully lifestyle. You can find all episodes of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, stud features, kennel features, event features, and all of the vlogs on youtube.com/Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. Check it out and hit subscribe today.
I'm taking applications right now. I need more hands. Yo. What the fuck is going on? You amazing motherfuckers. And we are in a China shop back again. You want to advertise for someone? www.advertise my shit. Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. What the fuck is the week? Stop taking fucking pictures of the pup. We're gonna be hosted by yours truly, Ty Lonely Pine. Yo.
Yo, you beautiful motherfuckers. Okay, so a little bit of a groundbreaking episode here at the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. Two different ways, okay? Two different reasons. This is the first solo Saturday episode where it's just me kind of digging into some topics that I want to talk about and kind of going off on a little bit just where I can make an episode to where I can really give you guys a product of the week. Some shout outs, what the fuck of the week, kind of, a little bit of entertainment other than just the guest coming on and having a conversation. So this week, or this episode 53, first ever solo Saturday. This is also the first ever fully recorded video podcast as well. We've had audio from the beginning. We put about 12 episodes ago, started putting full-length audio on the YouTube channel instead of just preview clips. Now, solo Saturdays, as many times as I can, will be full video also. I don't know why the fuck people want to look at me while I'm talking, but apparently that is the case with some of the comments and feedback I've been getting. People just want to see me, apparently. I don't understand that. Now, if you guys notice, the two paintings in the background of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop's podcast studio here that we have, the two paintings on the wall behind me, done by Tamara Pet Portraits. Amazing stuff. Clutch over my right shoulder here, Cleo over my left shoulder. That's opposite for you guys. But this is Cleopatra. Just put a brand new feature video of her up yesterday, just her hanging out in the yard out here on the Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV YouTube channel. Go check that out. Clutch stud feature is coming. It is coming. Okay, so this week we're going to be talking a little bit about inbreeding. Okay, and I'm not talking about Game of Thrones. I'm not talking about incest, brother, sister, all that craziness. I'm talking about dogs. I see a lot of people doing some pretty risky inbreeding. And I say risky to me, not just for health reasons, but for their breeding program reasons. I think people kind of lean on inbreeding things when they don't really have other options mapped out in their head. So I feel like it's almost a little bit like cutting corners a little bit. Inbreeding is breeding closely related relatives, okay? Mother, son, father, daughter, litter mates from the same breeding, litter mates from different breedings, one from the repeat, one from the first breeding, even breeding half brother and half sister that share the same parent. That is also inbreeding. I think a lot of people are confused about that. Anytime one dog makes up half of the genetics, that's inbreeding. So if your father-daughter, that male father, you're inbreeding on the father, that male genetics is actually 75% of the offspring of that breeding. If you're doing mother-son, you're inbreeding on the mom. Same thing. That mom is actually her genetics are actually 75% of those offspring. If you're doing litter mates, obviously that's same parents. It's going to be 50-50, but it's the same genetics just being doubled up on. But the half brother, half sister. So say you have a male out of a male a male you're breeding out of Gizmo, and a female you're breeding who's also out of Gizmo. Now, 50% of that male genetics is Gizmo. 50%, and I don't know who Gizmo is. Random. I don't know if you have a dog out there named Gizmo. I'm not talking about your dog. I don't know any dogs named Gizmo. That's why I'm using the word. Okay. So the male you're breeding out of Gizmo has 50% of Gizmo's genetics. The female you're breeding out of Gizmo also has 50% of Gizmo's genetics. So when you breed them, that's going to be 25 from each side of Gizmo's genetics. Still going to be 50% of the genetics accounted for in those offspring. Still inbreeding. I think a lot of people, most people would, not most, some people would call that line breeding. To me, that's not. That's still 50% of the genetics coming from one dog. To me, that's still inbreeding. Now, when you're inbreeding, you have to be super careful. In my opinion, I don't do a lot of it. I have friends that do it. I've had conversations, multiple in-depth conversations with breeders about what their game plan is behind the inbreeding that they've done. Now, a lot of people line breed. That's a whole different subject for a whole different episode, okay? When we're talking about inbreeding, you have to be careful, because if you have, let's say you're inbreeding on a stud, father to daughter. If you have a stud that consistently throws certain traits, yeah, you're going to are good traits. You're going to lock, quote unquote, lock those in and make it more accessible in the future from your line. But you're also going to be locking in, quote unquote, locking in the bad things too. So if you have a stud that consistently throws roachbacks, cowhawk rears, and let's say thin bone, inbreeding on that dog, you're going to set yourself up to make those things more accessible in your line also. So you're going to be, especially if the daughter that you're inbreeding with carries those traits also. You're going to be locking, when we say locking that stuff in, not every single production you get out of your line in the future is going to have these things, but it's going to make it more, more predominant as you breed stuff in your line down the line. Those traits are going to be more predominant because you have, quote unquote, locked those inbred on a dog that carries and throws those kind of traits. Now, if that same dog also throws huge, beautiful head shapes and really wide ribs and short backs and stuff like that, maybe it's a breeding tool, but you have to understand, when you're inbreeding on something like that, you're going to be locking in the good stuff and the bad shit. You're going to be doubling up and making that more predominant to see in your stuff in the future. I think not only cutting corners, but I think a lot of people are inbreeding because they think that is the only way to get consistent stuff out of their line. It's one way. If you're doing it the right way, it's one way, but you don't have to be inbreeding, line breeding to get consistent look. You have to breed traits. Now, just to reference my own stuff, most of my yard is what people would consider scatterbred. I don't consider it that way because it's actually line bred on physical traits, dominant traits that I see come out of these lines and these dogs. So to me, in my head, that's why when I'm making matchups and stuff, pedigree, you know, comes into play, but doesn't really it's like later on. That's like lower on the priority list, because I'm looking for traits that line, that dog consistently throws. I'm trying to find out what that dog consistently throws and what I can get out of him if I can use that in my program. Because for me, I breed females. I use males as tools to add to my females. So I'm building a stock of well-built bully females and using studs as tools to add little pieces that I need for the future to improve. That's it. So for me, inbreeding hasn't really come into play so much. But in the future, when I do, you better believe it's going to be 2 examples that I think are prime, excellent examples of my stuff and what I want to be pushed in the future and the stuff that I want to come out in the future. If I do an inbreeding, it's going to have to be 2 dogs where I am satisfied if I get those dogs again. You understand what I'm saying? Not a female that lacks this, needs this, lacks this, needs this. We're going to inbreed her, try to get that. We're going to inbreed her. We're going to take her to her dad, try to get that stuff. Probably not going to have the best results. Now, there's exceptions to every rule. 1 puppy out of a inbred litter that looks good is not the rule. You understand what I'm saying? That's the exception. Now, that might be the best dog you've ever produced. That 1 puppy that comes out of that inbred litter. But the rest of it, it's no good. Didn't turn out the way you wanted to. Now, when you breed that dog, that inbred dog, what do you think the exception's going to be pushed out or the rule's going to be pushed out? I think it's probably going to be the exception. I think it's probably going to be, it's probably going to be the rule. The exception is the exception for a reason. So you don't have to inbreed a bunch to get consistent results. You just don't. It's not necessary, if you know what I mean. Okay. Now you can use, some people use a coefficient of inbreeding, a COI. You can use coefficient inbreeding calculators or inbreeding coefficient calculators. You can use all this stuff, and it's going to tell you something similar to what I've kind of broke down in layman's terms. Now, according to most COIs, though, 25% is all you have to see in that COI of 1 dog's genetics to be considered inbred. Okay? I take it a little farther. I like to say if 1 dog makes up 50% of those, and again, listen, I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not a reproduction specialist. I'm not going to break down some alleles and some color genes and it's just I'm not that guy. What I'm telling you is from what I've seen, my experience, my knowledge on it, my opinions on it. Nothing's facts, my opinions for the most part. But inbreeding, when you're inbreeding, you need to make sure that both of the dogs that you're inbreeding are great examples of your line. Damn near perfect, which you can't get a perfect dog, but this is something you need to take seriously because not just the health, I'm not talking about the health stuff, we'll get into that. I'm going to have more conversations about inbreeding with people that know more about the health side of things and how that affects a dog's health. Later on, we have all the time in the world. I'm not going anywhere with the podcast. So what I'm talking about right now is the effects it's going to have on your program in the future. Now that's what we're doing. We're setting stuff up for the future, for longevity. We're talking about 5 generations, 6 generations, 7 generations, 8 generations. I'm not just thinking about the next generation. Oh, what hot stud can I use? What hot inbreeding can I do to get paid to bring, you know what I mean? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about 6, if you're concerned about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 generations deep into your program, this is what I'm talking about. Now, I had a gentleman on the podcast previously who knows a lot more about inbreeding than I do. Big Kev from Midwest Monsters in the Lounge. He's had great success with it, and that's definitely one of the guys that I want to sit down and pick their brain about it because it's just like, until you actually get in there and do some shit, what do you really know? I've done a couple inbreedings myself. One semi-successful, the other one was bunk. Dropped the ball big time with that one, and no, didn't really get put out there because that's what you do. You find, as a breeder, stuff doesn't happen the way you want it to. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just, no matter what you do or how consistent you think you're getting, sometimes the shit is just not going to be what you thought it was going to be or what you wanted. Your responsibility as a breeder is to get that out of the gene pool. Pet homes, hard culling even. Now, back in the day, I remember a time where hard culling puppies that didn't make the cut was the norm. Now it's not really acceptable because you got fur moms out here hugging trees and saving bunnies. That's not what I'm talking about. If you can't handle hard culling, soft culling will work. Pet home, spay, neutered, find good homes for these dogs to go that don't make the cut for your program. Find good homes for them. Send them out. Get them out of the gene pool. That's just as effective as a hard culling, and you'll probably sleep better at night. This is one of the practices I do all the time. Stuff that I'm not going to use in my program gets donated to veterans. Everybody wins that way. Everybody wins that way. A veteran that's been, let's be honest, the veterans aren't getting treated the greatest now by the government. When they come home, they're not getting the greatest health care. They're not getting the mental health care help that they need for the most part. So what I do, I donate to veterans, and then the dogs are great for emotional support and therapy. Just having someone there that you guys have that bond and that trust, that's great for them. It's great for me because I get to take something out of the gene pool that shouldn't be in the gene pool in the first place, and it helps me sleep greatly because I know that I'm helping somebody out at the same time. It's like a win-win for everybody. The dog wins, the veteran wins, I win, the breed wins, the gene pool doesn't have that in it anymore. For me, that's the best option. You do what you want, but culling is a necessary part of breeding. It's bottom line. Hard culling or soft culling, if that stuff doesn't turn out, you need to get it out of there. Some of these breedings that people are doing, some of these puppies I see getting pushed out, even 6, 8, 10 months old, that are still for sale, that are just not up to par. They're just not good quality stuff. People still selling them, pushing them $400, $500, $600, $750, $1,000 even. That's bargain. If you're shopping in the bargain aisles, you're going to get bargain quality shit. You're going to get bargain quality customer service. You're going to get bargain quality health guarantees. You're going to get bargain quality shit. Bottom line. Okay? If you're selling that kind of stuff, it says a lot to me about your program. It's not going where you want it to go. It's not. For the American Bully right now is at one of the highest it's been as far as market values ever in the history of the breed, and you're struggling because you're not doing the right things. You're not taking what needs to be taken out of the gene pool out of the gene pool. That's stuff that you have to do. It's necessary shit. It's called the dog man life. That's part of the life. When I say dog man, I don't mean men necessarily, because I know some women out here that are making some of these quote unquote dog men look like bitches. Okay, now, and like I was saying, I kind of got off a little bit there, but back to inbreeding, something I'm definitely going to dig into more in the future. This is just kind of my view on it. In order for me to inbreed something, I'm going to need 2 excellent examples of my program and what I want for the future of my program. Anytime, they say, if you really want to know what's in your blood, inbreed it, because the shit will come out. So I'm not totally against it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not totally against inbreeding. Like I said, there's guys like Big Kev and other people that have done really well and had great success inbreeding. but you have to do it the right way. That's all I'm saying. What the right way is, we're still on a journey to figure that shit out. And like I said, we're gonna dig into it more in the future. This is just my thoughts on it. Stop cutting corners, people. Stop cutting corners. Stop it. Stop it. You got your dog named Gizmo. Again, I'm not talking about any specific dog. This is just a random motherfucker. You got your dog named Gizmo. You got 5 Gizmo daughters on the yard. You can't afford to pay a stud fee. The females aren't quality enough to do a collaboration with somebody what you want. So now you're just gonna inbreed all 5 of those bitches? Come on. Come on. That's not how you set your program up. That's cutting corners. That's cutting corners. Let's be honest. Anyway, moving on. This week's Bull-NA-ChinaShop product of the week is called KWIK STOP. KWIK STOP. This stuff is heaven sent, man. This stuff is like some sort of angel dropped down out of the clouds, set this on my front porch. It was my mom, actually. It was my mom. But this stuff, like, when you're clipping toenails, I don't know how you guys go about clipping your whole yard's toenails. Maybe you only have 1 or 2 dogs. It only takes a half hour, something like that. Maybe you have 25, 30, 40 dogs, and it takes you 3/4 of the day to get this done. For me, it takes about half a day. I do everybody in one shot every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on if I'm traveling. I do everybody in one shot. So, sometimes, toward the end, you're rushing and you get kind of complacent about it. Next thing you know, you've got a bleeding quick. Well, this shit, KWIK STOP powder, put that stuff on there within a matter of seconds. The bleeding is stopped. It helps coat and protect against infection. It's really good stuff. Helps with the soreness. If you really, if the dog jerks and you really, get half the toenail or something and it's really bad bleeding, this stuff will help stop it, clot it. It'll help with the soreness the next day. So anyway, this week, episode 53 of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, the first and only podcast dedicated to bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. Product of the week, KWIK STOP. Just Google KWIK STOP. Okay, now, something we haven't done in a while. The what the fuck of the week, okay? The what the fuck of the week is this week is what the fuck is with these false prophets? And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about monopoly money in your pockets. I'm talking about people parading around like they're community leaders and role models that have no business in that position. Why do these people want to be viewed as role models and community leaders, but when they talk, they spit biased, inaccurate information or even misinformation at times? Anytime I see one of these guys come up against some opposition, a little debate, somebody questioning their opinion on things, the first response is always threats with physical violence. I'm the wrong guy. First of all, I'm the wrong guy. We're not having that discussion. If we're talking dogs and we're gonna try to keep it about dogs and we're gonna have a debate, I'm gonna be open, honest, and brutal, just like I am with everybody else. I'm the wrong guy to be threatening. You don't threaten me, okay? I don't even want to go down that road. That's not even what we're here for. That's a bad look for everybody. That street mentality, that thug mentality, that's something that is part of the fucking problem. We have people out here fighting every single day to get rid of that, what do you want to call it, that outside view of the non-bully community on our community. We were trying to get rid of that street mentality, that thug mentality. And then we have people that are supposed to be community leaders out here propagating that. Like, what the fuck do you mean? You can't be a community leader if you don't have the mental capacity to back up the words you're saying when you go on and rant and rave on whatever show or radio show or videos or whatever you're doing, Facebook posts. I mean, there's a people doing, multiple people doing all of these things. And then every time somebody wants to argue with them about it with facts, it's always, oh, we about to fight. That's ridiculous. We're grown men. We're trying to take this into the mainstream. We're not trying to walk right back onto the street corners. That's not where we want to go. We're trying to go mainstream. We're trying to get this breed out there. And if you're mad at someone because your opinion on what the standard is or what the dog should look like is different than them, get over it, man. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You're entitled to yours. He's entitled to his. I'm entitled to mine. Doesn't mean we have a conflict. We're talking dogs. You know what I'm saying? If it gets personal and goes beyond that, you should be at least try to be enough of a fucking man to rise above and walk away from that. Avoid those kind of situations. We all fall into it. None of us are perfect. All I'm saying is we don't need that kind of mentality and that outlook in this bull breed American bully thing that we're doing. We're trying to take this shit mainstream. We don't need that. This false prophet situation we have. What I want you guys to do, I want you to judge these people by what they've done now. What are they doing now? Not what they did 10 years ago. Not what they did 15 years ago. Not what they're talking about doing 5 years from now. Not what are they doing now? What have they done lately? What have you produced? What have you done to earn my attention? Most of these guys, the list's pretty short. Most of the list is pretty short. Also, what the fuck do people get from this? What do people get from the online drama? What do people actually take home and learn from you threatening everybody online? Like, what are we accomplishing? I don't even know what I'm accomplishing talking about it right now. Most of these guys that I'm referring to, and I don't want to say names because it's just going to turn into a big firestorm, and I'm not trying to start a firestorm. I want you guys to be aware that this shit is going on, and these guys are not, they're not in it, they're not, putting their agenda out on Front Street, but there is a fucking agenda. Trust me. There is an agenda, and it's not you and your betterment of your program. It's your pockets and what they can get out of your pockets. Just be careful. Use your brain. Just be careful. Use your brain. That's all I'm saying. It's entertaining. These guys are entertaining. These interviews are entertaining. These shows are entertaining. These Facebook rants are entertaining. These posts. To a certain extent, but there's no real value behind it. There's no real, sustainability behind it. You can't pick a fight with everybody every week. I mean, you're going to run out of people or eventually run into somebody that's really about that life. That's not what we want. That's the opposite of what we want. Last thing I want to say about the false prophets, anybody that tells you they have it figured out, they know the formula, they know everything, is full of shit. Growing is about learning. Growing is about being open to the fact that you could be wrong. I hope in 6 months I learn something that contradicts myself from 6 months ago. Because that means I'm growing. That means I'm learning. That means I'm open to being wrong. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I learn enough in 6 months to be a little different mentally. I hope in 6 months I progress enough to I'm not the same person I am today. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's one thing, keeping it real. One thing, keeping it real and staying on the street corner. That's a whole, you know what I mean? That don't have to be one and the same. We don't have to be gang members. We don't have to be shoot them up, punch them up, stab them up, fight them up. We don't have to be that shit anymore. We don't need that. there was one more thing. I'm at a loss. I'm losing it right now. I don't know. I just want the audience that listens to the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, anybody that trusts my word enough to listen to this shit every week, I just want you guys to be careful. I want you to sift through the bullshit. Sometimes it takes a lot to get through it. Sometimes it takes a lot to get through it. Sift through the bullshit. Just say to yourself, what the fuck is this accomplishing? What the fuck does this person bring to the table? What the fuck have they done lately? Okay, done with that. As always, this episode and all other episodes of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast is brought to you by Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV and Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. If you want to see any and all of the other episodes of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, go to Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com, hit the blog page. The menu's in the top right-hand corner. Hit the blog page. The newest episode will be at the top of the page. The oldest episode, which is number 1, all the way down to number 1, you can find on the Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com blog page. If you want to see videos from Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV, stay right on the home page. Every video, that has to be updated actually, but every video on Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV is on the homepage of Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. If you want to catch us on social media, Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV on YouTube, Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com on Facebook. I had to think about that one. Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast on Instagram, Bull-ChinaShop Thai on Twitter, and Bull-NA-ChinaShop on Snapchat. Snapchat and Instagram see everything first, all the behind the scenes shit. Instagram stories, Snapchat stories, they see everything first. Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV YouTube channel, you can find stud features, you can find video footage of my dogs, vlogs. I think we have 9 vlogs now. You can find basically anything and everything that we are doing on the socials, as Rob Lee, former friend of the podcast, actually not former, friend of the podcast and last week's guest says, the socials. You can find everything you need to know about Bull-NA-ChinaShop and Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV and the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast on social media and the website, Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. We also are brought to you by the Bully Embassy. The Bully Embassy is an elite group of owners, handlers, breeders, and judges from around the world. We have senior judges, we have nationals winners, we have some of the top dogs in the country, some of the most sought after, or one of the most sought after groups in the world. You can find us at your next event. Just look for the big Bully Embassy tent or go on Facebook at The Bully Embassy. Oh, also, TheBullyEmbassy.com. Check us out. That's all I got. First solo Saturday's in the books. Just over 30 minutes. We're looking at 32 minutes, 33 minutes. Solo Saturdays are going to be short and sweet. Just want to get some information in your ear, make you guys think a little bit. I appreciate everybody that supports Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. I appreciate everybody that supports the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, the first and only podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. You can find me in the Bahamas this weekend. I'm actually leaving tomorrow. August 7th, Monday, August 7th, Bahamas show, Nassau. Be there. I know we have some people going from the U.S. down there. I will be judging. We will have, obviously I'm going to do a vlog from the weekend, show you guys the trip to the Bahamas. It's a short trip, 3 days. But I'll have some footage for that on the YouTube channel, hopefully Tuesday. I don't get back till Monday night, so hopefully Tuesday that'll be up. New episode of the podcast every Wednesday. New solo Saturday episode every Saturday. Also, event coverage, everything from the Bahamas show will also be up, hopefully next week sometime. After that, after the Bahamas, I'm looking at September 9th. World Cup and ATL. I'm also looking at September 10th, second ever Australian ABKC show. We'll get some more info on that as it gets closer. We're going to be doing the first ever Bull-NA-ChinaShop seminar down there. It's going to be like a meet and greet. It's also going to be a Q&A. We're going to do a little presentation on the American Bully, what to expect in the ring, what you can expect from judges. That'll be the first of many Bull-NA-ChinaShop seminars to come, and meet and greets with the Q&A. That's just going to be attached to all of them. So September 9th, ATL, September 10th, Australia. I'm going to run the intro one more time because I can't stop talking. September 10th in Australia. October, I have wide open right now. Event hosts, show hosts. You need your event covered. You want to get some extra promotion. You want to get some extra exposure. You want to set yourself up for future events. Hit me up, realtylumley@gmail.com. Email me. We'll get together. I have a whole list of prices on my event coverage packages. October's wide open, and then obviously November 11th, your boys judging nationals, ABKC Nationals, November 11th, Navy Pier in Chicago. See you guys there. I love your fucking faces. Thanks for the support so much. If you guys like this video, seeing me talk in front of my paintings, like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV. See you motherfuckers Wednesday, Bahamas this weekend. I can't wait.